Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. We've got a lot to talk about today. So first and foremost, we've got a new first chapter collector set coming to the market, which is it's gonna be an interesting time. So we'll talk about that first. I also want to get into DLC Milwaukee as well as a new movie promo that is coming. So I know most of you are going to be here for the first chapter, so we'll talk about that first, then get into my DLC Milwaukee thoughts, and then get into the movie promo, which I'm very, very excited about. So first and foremost, an eBay auction happened overnight. It ended this morning just a few minutes ago, and it sold for $137.50. This person called it a Disney Lorcana first chapter collector card. You can see it here. It's got a portfolio here with some villains on the outside of it. It's then got 6 first chapter booster packs as well as a unique promo to this box, the Queen. You'll see that it is produced and distributed by Costco Wholesale Corporation. So a Costco product, very similar to think of the Stitch product that we've seen previously. In the description of this auction, this person says that it was released at the D23 Expo in 2025, which is not true. And I'm sorry, I was just distracted by that auction for a second, which is not true. I would imagine this is going to be like a Black Friday sale for Costco. They've done Black Friday bundles in the past. They did one last Black Friday for the first chapter at Target. I would imagine this is probably a pretty similar idea here. Look, this is going to be very polarizing. There's going to be a lot of people pissed off about this. There's going to be a lot of people happy about this that hadn't gotten the first chapter previously, and they're going to be able to get it. Right, that's the time. When a set's been around as long as the first chapter has, there's always going to be two sides of it. I think, look, guys, I'm not that worried about the first chapter at all. Boxes are creeping up to all-time highs. Cases are near all-time highs. I don't expect this to really impact the market much at all in terms of just some loose packs getting put into a collection set. And just to, comparatively, keep in mind that first chapter and 151 were released right at about the same time. And 151 is still being printed and is still being put into products right now in terms of at Costco or Sam's Club. I can't remember, but those tins, I think they're at Sam's Club, are getting ready to be restocked. And so Pokemon's still doing it. I think Ravensburger and Disney Lorcana is well within their right to still produce this product. Now, obviously, where this comes into question or where they run into problems is they ran that booster box sale on EQL that was, in the description of that sale said this will be the last time to ever purchase these products. Now, you'll notice that it specifically said products, and I talked about this at the time whenever the raffle was announced, whenever it happened. It very specifically said product, which was booster boxes. It was not the individual packs or like a sleeve booster pack. It was specifically booster boxes, and it said this product, not this set. And so a lot of people are going to be mad that they're still printing the first chapter or producing their first chapter. What I find this is probably most likely whatever loose packs they had left, this is them getting rid of it, giving a unique promo with it, a portfolio, kind of just getting rid of any old product that they have from that set before it's completely gone. That's kind of how I see this, and I think it's completely fine and completely well within their right to do so. This is going to generate some buzz for the first chapter. Obviously, Lorcana is in a really good spot right now in terms of growth, so a lot of people are going to be able to get their hands on the first chapter in terms of newer players, newer collectors. I'm all for that, and I just hope that this is kind of near the end, right? Like, I don't want them to continue to print leaves for years to come or continuing to release leaves, right? Like, there does have to be an endpoint. I think we're getting to that, but keep in mind, guys, this set is we're still relatively fresh in terms of just the overall TCG, very new game. And we're kind of at the 2-year mark in terms of the first chapter being out on the market. And so if they've got some packs in the warehouse, they want to put together a cool bundle. I like it. I don't have a problem with it. Sure, there might be some intermediate pain in the short term for some of the singles. I don't think it will impact the market that much at all. And I'm not that worried about it. I guess you could say they could have been more specific with the auction whenever they did the booster box raffle / auction, and they kind of said this will no longer be available. Maybe they could have noted like single packs might still be available or more products to come, something like that. But at the end of the day, they did say these products. This will be your last chance to purchase these products. those products were booster boxes. And so this is obviously a completely new product. Obviously, I love promos. I'm all for it. I like this. I also have I have a sealed version of every other first chapter product. I'll have to get one of these. They will be scalped, I would imagine, into oblivion. If it's going to be, if these are going to be MSRP of like 39, they're probably going to, I haven't been keeping up with Pokemon, but I think from what I remember seeing online, I feel like they do a good job of like lining people up, and you can only get like one or two, and like it'll probably be a situation like that. Maybe Lorcana's not on that path yet where people are gonna like fight, and it's gonna turn into a UFC brawl at the the Lorcana first chapter collection drop. But I hope they handle it well, and I hope they do limit quantities if need be. Now look, if they come to market, Ravensburgers came to market with some overpriced things before, just like even individual packs, like Riftbound packs are cheaper than Lorcana packs, just MSRP, out of the gate. Lorcana is the most expensive TCG when you think about an MSRP for like a sleeve pack. They're overpriced compared to a lot of the other TCGs. So if they do come to the market with like a $59.99 price, like it's probably still gonna sell because it's the first chapter, but like that's gonna limit the scalping quite a bit. If it's closer to that $29.99, $39.99, probably gonna be a fight to get it. I personally don't have a Costco membership. I do have a Sam's Club membership, but Sam's has never had Lorcana, at least to date. But Costco obviously getting some love here. So this box is coming to the market, I would guess, pretty soon. I would not be surprised if on the Lorecast this week they announce like once again a Black Friday sale, whatever, and these going out to Costco. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know, once again, it's going to be a very polarizing topic, but I don't think this is going to have an impact on booster boxes, guys, or booster box cases. Maybe a little bit of short-term decline here, but it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not really overreacting to it. I don't see it as much of a problem. Happy for anyone that can get their hands on it. And another product with the first chapter here, hopefully near the end, right? I'll be the first to admit that this is kind of hopefully the end of Lee's ancillary products and the first chapter making it into things. Because I would have much rather just seen them, to be completely honest, like my ideal scenario, let's say, they run that EQL and booster boxes are done, right? You can no longer buy those after that raffle. But they know that they have, 10,000 first chapter loose packs in the warehouse, or, whatever the number is. I would have much rather seen them bring those into the Lilo and Stitch gift set box, as well as the Elsa the Fifth Spirit gift set box. And as they continue to do these gift set boxes, which it looks like we're going to have one about every other set or every other set, I would have liked to seen them continue to include the first chapter in those. Very finite amount, but you get the randomization of getting the first chapter. That's going to build a lot of buzz for those specific products. And it's kind of that random assortment. So it could be anything through, set 1 through set 9. Etc. Like that's where I would like it to be, because I feel like those products are kind of getting left behind whenever stuff like this comes. Because with the the Lilo and Stitch gift set box, which I love, I have a ton of them sealed. I've opened a ton of them. I've got like a mountain of the ones I've opened just in terms of storage over here on a table. But like that set only had set 2 through really set 5. There's a chance you could get Azurite Seed, but it was very few and far between. And so was Rise of the Floodborn. It was mini set 3, 4, 5. Like, if you're going to give us a lot of the sets that don't sell well, give us, some first chapter in there, right? Or at least the chance at it. So that would be my preferred method of distribution for these packs. Once again, they at least gave us a unique promo. I think it's a good product overall. I am all for them continuing to evolve and include these new products. It's not something that I'm looking to get a bunch of. I'll probably get one. Once again, I have a sealed, I have one sealed of every first chapter product, whether it's the starter deck display or a sealed case, an art set of sleeve booster packs, etc. I've got it all, and so I'll get this. I've got my first chapter bundle, first chapter gift set. This will go in the same little area. It is a pretty bulky product, overall, in terms of like storage and display. Like, it's pretty big in terms of the portfolio and then the packs and everything. So it's a pretty bulky box. Not looking to have too many of them personally, but I've also, I've opened a lot of first chapter. I've You know what? I'll tell you what. This is a kind of a tangent, but and then we'll get into the DLC Milwaukee stuff. That's kind of my thoughts on the first chapter box. But I was playing Lorcana with my daughter this weekend, and we busted out. I have a bunch of the starter decks that I had opened for the pack, but I've got the actual decks that were still in the cellophane from inside the starter deck boxes. And so my daughter and I were playing, and she wanted to play with. We had like an Ariel and an Aurora, the two starter decks from the first chapter, in the wrapping still. And she wanted to sleeve those up and play with them. She's just learning. We don't actually play the game. We just kind of like mess around with like reading and math in terms of like strength, willpower, etc., questing, and we just kind of have fun with it. But she wanted to play with the Aurora deck, and so we sleeved them up, or the Ariel deck. She was Ariel, I was Aurora. So we sleeved them up, and it was so funny just looking through the first chapter and like feeling the cards, and like it already had like a nostalgia effect on me. Just like it felt special, just kind of handling those cards again. Obviously, in this world now, in terms of the current TCG, we're in a post-rotation world where a lot of the first chapter cards are gone, and just looking at some of these cards, it's a simpler time, cool, just like it just had, it's already got like a nostalgia aspect to it for me, which is, it was cool to just feel those cards again and look at them all and enjoy them, play with them. It was just fun more than anything else. So that was very, very cool. All right. Moving over to DLC Milwaukee. What a weekend. I was locked in watching this thing. Shout out to Frank Carson, the GOAT. The first two-time, I gave him a little Conor McGregor gift down here in the comments. So if you're not familiar with Frank's game, obviously won the very first DLC, like I said, and then he won the most recent one, but he also is in the Magic the Gathering like Hall of Fame. This guy is just like a TCG wizard. I think he's a mathematician in his professional life, and he's doing all the math, putting it all on display. His deck was insane. Like, if you're not familiar with Lorcana, you can only have up to 4 of any given card in your deck. And the common belief and understanding is it's inefficient to really do anything but 4. You can have some copies of like 3 of, couple 2s here and there, but by and large, like you want to be 4 of most of the time. And his deck was like 1 of this, 1 of this, 1 of this, 2 of this, 1 of this. Like, it was just absolute madness that truly only a master like him could pull off. So shout out to Frank. Absolutely awesome run. Awesome guy. And our first double DLC winner, champ, the GOAT, Frank Carson. Next up, Aiden. This is a 10-year-old who took down DKP, the first ever world's champion, one of, I mean, you could argue the best player in Disney Lorcana, to get to the top 8, to win a Golden Mickey in the top 16 round. Aiden took him down. A 10-year-old beat the world champion to get to the top 8 and win a Golden Mickey. So like, this dude has school today, and he just won a $10,000 card last night. Like, absolutely insane. Congrats to him. Congrats to his family. They raised a smart young man, because at 10 years old to come into a tournament like this and play 2 days all day, like, I mean, that's a lot for like, my oldest daughter just turned 7. And I can't imagine 3 years from now she's like beating grown-ups in a trading card game and taking down, a Golden Mickey. Like, just absolutely insane. So shout out to Aiden and everyone. I saw some videos on Twitter. A ton of people rooting for him. Really, really cool to see. I did feel bad for DKP because, I mean, he lost. But at the end of the day, like, everyone was really excited, I think, just to see like a kid do so well. So everyone was like cheering, and it's like, to be a DKP spot, you lose, you don't get a Golden Mickey, you're out at the top 16, and everyone's like going nuts as soon as you lose. Like that, that probably didn't feel good. But from what I saw, he handled it very well, like a professional, and gave Aiden his props. DKP said he's this kid is an insane player. Said he plays lightning fast and no misplays, and is just like dialed in. So shout out to Aiden, who then got taken down by the Forbidden Mountain Dan, who also put on a show. It was just a great tournament. So I watched a ton of it yesterday. I watched a little bit of it Saturday. It was a lot of fun to see. And I personally, once again, I'm much more back in my collector arc right now, but I'm very excited for Whispers in the Well. I'm definitely going to be playing that set. I'm energized. I kind of took all of Fabled off from a player's perspective, but I'm very, very energized to get into Whispers in the Well. And once again, if you want to be a good collector, I strongly advise you at least learn the game. I think the better player you are, the better collector you're going to be in the short term in terms of understanding the dynamics of the game, understanding the mechanics, understanding what cards are going to be popular when and when they're going to fall off. I think all of that will lead to your money going farther and you essentially just being a better collector because of it. So if you are only a collector, I've said it 100 times, but I strongly encourage you to learn how to play the game as well, because I think it will benefit you from both aspects. And the game's just fun. It's a ton of fun. So if you're interested, I do recommend doing that. All right. Last but not least, we've got a Zootopia 2 movie promo that is going to be released only in theaters in November 26th. So right around Thanksgiving there. Might actually be Thanksgiving. And then it says it's the Putting It All Together card. You'll see it's got I think they call it the confetti foiling, if I'm not mistaken, the same one from Lilo Escape Artist and the Elsa the Fifth Spirit, the gift boxes. But you'll see that it's got a little film indicator down here at the bottom symbolizing what type of promo it is, which I am a massive fan of. There for a while, for the first year or so, first couple years, all of the promos, for the most part, had the same symbol, that it was a promo, but they didn't really have any difference between a set release promo, organized play promo, movie release promo. They were all kind of the same. They've gotten away from that, right, with the DLC promos and any competitive play promos getting its unique stamp, set promos getting their unique stamp, and then obviously you get a new movie promo, the second one in the series, getting a movie reel promo down there at the bottom. So I really, really like that. It's going to be exclusive to Cinemark theaters in the U.S., which is not ideal for me because I don't have one. Last I looked when the Moana movie was coming out, I think the closest one was like 45 minutes away, which, look, the kid, I have 3 young kids, oldest 7 years old. Getting all 3 of them to a movie theater is going to be tough. Maybe I can do it with just the oldest. That might be a play, but I would love to get my hands on this card in person, right? Obviously, I'll buy some. I have a ton of the Moana promo, but I really want to go and experience it and get the card, see my daughter's reaction. She likes Zootopia. We haven't seen it a lot recently, but she would for sure be down to go to it. So this is, once again, guys, this is like the fun of Lorcana. No other trading card game is doing this, and no other trading card game can, right? In terms of interacting with kids, Pokemon obviously could. They were the pioneers of this. When you talk about Magic, they a movie release, I don't know, can Hasbro do that? I doubt it. It maybe if they did a Universes Beyond thing, but nothing that's core to the game. One Piece, maybe a bunch of adults, but or are they going to give out a waifu card at the door? Not going to be a lot of kids, going to see that. And then, and obviously Pokemon could do this. Obviously, I've talked on the channel a lot about the 2001 Pokemon movie and how cool that was, and I still love that stamp on that promo card to this day. But we're getting another one here. We've obviously had the Moana was the first movie card released with Lorcana, Moana 2, and then we have Putting It All Together here, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde there on the card, and you can go and get it from 11/26 through 11/30 is kind of the time to get this card. But once again, it's just expanding the Lorcana game to a lot more people, right? There's going to be a lot more people who know about Zootopia and then learn about Lorcana, right, after the fact when they go and get this card, maybe do a little bit of research. Their kids are going to love it. They're essentially going to go down the Lorcana rabbit hole after, no pun intended, after they go and see this movie and get these cards on their hand, which is what I love about Lorcana. There's so many different ways to be exposed to this, whether it's going to a movie theater, whether it's turning on, you could turn on Disney Plus and there's going to be something Lorcana related. You could go to Target, you could go to the board game aisle, you could go to the cruises, you could go to the parks. Lorcana is just going to be everywhere, and it's undeniable. They're doing such a good job with making these promos unique. Now, I would like to see some alt arts be worked in here as well. Right now, most of the alt arts are pretty much reserved for Enchanted, Iconics, and then DLC promos. I would like to see some of the full arts and alt arts work their way into whether it's the epic slot, as well as unique promos like this. Make it a super cool collectible card. This is great, right? It's got unique foiling, cool card. It's got the stamp, so a lot of steps in the right direction here. I'd like to see them continue to ramp it up and just give it a full alternate art effect. I think that would be really cool, and it would increase the collectability a lot, and it'd just be a much better card. But overall, once again, I'm not taking anything away from it. I think this is really, really cool. And if I had a Cinemark theater near me, I would absolutely go and see it with at least the oldest, maybe the oldest two, to get the card, enjoy the film, and I think it would be a cool experience. So I personally am very excited for this. I'm a massive fan of when they do stuff like this. I hope it continues to come, right? Especially as we get into Pixar. Toy Story 5 is going to be released next year. I want a Buzz and Woody altar with the, give me the stamp at the bottom, but it's got like an enchanted feel to it or something. Like, keep this stuff coming. I think it's a major step in the right direction. And once again, just the kind of Lorcana difference is doing things like this when a lot of other card games can't. This bridges the gap with the youth and with the parents and gives us an experience that we can all enjoy, which is ultimately how I fell in love with Lorcana, in the very first place, right? Opening those packs, those first chapter packs with my daughter and her being so excited about that Elsa she pulled. That changed me, right? Like that was like, oh, okay, like this can be like this can be our Pokemon, right? I don't have any connection with the new Pokemon. I don't like a lot of the new arts. Every pack's got, hits in it, and I just don't even like a lot of the Pokemon. Don't like a lot of the cards. And so like Pokemon just doesn't do it for me anymore. But like sharing this experience with my family definitely can. And like, look, my daughter's 7. She goes in and out, right? She's got waves. Right now she's all about Barbies and doesn't want anything to do with the cards. But that'll come back, right? We'll open some set 10 possibly, and she'll be back. We'll go and see this movie, and it comes and goes. But at the end of the day, it's something that I started with her, and I will continue to share with my family, especially as we get into like the Pixar IPs and things like that. So very, very excited for the future of Disney Lorcana. I am in the purchase, and I'll probably make a video about this tomorrow, standalone, because I doubt that there's that many of you left. But I am going to be looking to move some sealed product as well as probably some PSA 10, like Rockstar Stitch. I'll probably sell a couple Musketeer 10s, some other promo 10s, maybe even some Enchanted 10s. So basically, I need to raise some capital. I've got a very, very unique opportunity to purchase a Grail card of mine. One of the, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I've got a deal that I cannot pass up of a card that I do not know how many times I'll have the opportunity to add it to my collection in the future, and so I need to purchase it, and so I will be selling some things. So if you need, like, if you're in the market for a first chapter case or two, PSA 10 trophy cards, raw enchanteds, I have a ton of raw enchanteds. Just if you're in the market for anything, reach out to me. Try and come to some sort of agreement, and yeah, it's very rare that I'm in the market to sell things. I just have a very unique opportunity that I need to capitalize on, and if I don't, I think I'll regret it. And I've kind of weighed the risk versus rewards, and I'm jumping 2 feet in. I'm going to the bottom. So I need to raise some capital. So if you are in the market to buy anything, reach out to me. I've got a large inventory, large collection, and this is one of the few times, once again, that I'm in the market to really be a seller. That historically has not been the case, and it will not be the case for long. But if you are interested, reach out to me. Other than that, go Chiefs. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye, guys.